Hello and welcome to Roughne's channel. Today I'm reviewing SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide, a brand new SpongeBob adventure that throws Bikini Bottom into chaos with massive new enemies. I spent some time with the game and I'll be breaking down how the game feels to play, the story and world, visuals, performance, any issues you should know about whether it's worth your money, and finally my honest verdict. Let's start with the most important part, how the game actually feels to play. Mechanics and overall feel. I played this on keyboard and mouse, and right from the start, the controls feel responsive and easy to pick up. As the game opens, SpongeBob is his usual excited and goofy self, and you're free to move around Bikini Bottom and interact with characters like Mr. Krabs. Interactions are instant with no noticeable input delay, which makes the game feel smooth and polished early on. Combat is simple but accessible. SpongeBob can chain together light attacks into short combos, making fights easy to understand without feeling clunky. Movement is also solid, with jumping and a reliable double jump that helps when navigating objects and vertical areas. Now let's give SpongeBob a break and focus on Patrick. Patrick plays very differently compared to SpongeBob, and that's where the gameplay starts to feel more varied. While SpongeBob focuses more on mobility and faster attacks, Patrick feels heavier and more power-based. His attacks hit harder, and you can feel the weight behind each move, especially when dealing with tougher enemies. Patrick's slower movement is balanced by his strength, making him better suited for crowd control and dealing with enemies that require more impact. This difference between the two characters helps break up the gameplay and keeps things from feeling repetitive. Switching between SpongeBob and Patrick feels natural, and it adds a nice layer of strategy depending on the situation you're in. Overall, Patrick's playstyle complements SpongeBob well, giving the game some welcome variety in its combat and mechanics. Comparing SpongeBob and Patrick, the game clearly gives each character a distinct role. From what I've experienced in my first hour of gameplay, Patrick feels more utility focused. He's able to pick up and throw objects like barrels to break large obstacles, move boxes to reach higher areas, and even burrow into the ground to collect coins or interact with air vents that launch him higher. He also has access to a gravel, which helps when navigating certain gaps and areas. SpongeBob, on the other hand, feels more limited earlier on. So far, his main unique interaction is using his karate kick to hit balloons in order to progress through certain sections. It works, but compared to Patrick, his abilities feel more straightforward at this stage of the game. That said, it's clear the game is designed to unlock more skills as you progress, so this may change later on. One small but funny detail I noticed is how both characters react differently while surfing. SpongeBob looks excited and confident while Patrick looks absolutely terrified, facing backward instead of forward. It's a subtle touch, but it adds a lot of personality and stays true to their characters. This is quite actually hilarious. Let's touch on visuals. Visually, the game looks really good, especially during cutscenes. Scenes featuring characters like the Flying Dutchman and King Neptune genuinely feel like you're watching an animated SpongeBob movie. The animations are expressive, colorful, and very faithful to the show, which makes those moments stand out in a big way. But it's not just the cutscenes. Even during the regular gameplay, the game looks really good. Character models, environments, and animations stay vibrant and polished while you actively play, which helps keep the experience visually engaging from start to finish. Let's touch on the world. When it comes to the world itself, Bikini Bottom feels alive rather than empty or static. NPCs are constantly moving around, talking to each other, reacting to what's happening around them as you continue your journey. When enemies show up, you'll hear NPCs screaming and panicking, which adds to the chaos in a fun way. If you move closer to them, conversation can trigger naturally.
If I can't bring home half patties for my family, I shouldn't go back!
Some NPCs are even drowning while others just stand around watching, which is honestly hilarious and very on brand for SpongeBob. Wowzer. Now that we've talked about how the game looks, let's get into performance and how well it actually runs. For testing, I played the game on a PC with a 9th gen i7 and RTX 3060 and 32 gigs of RAM. I'll put the full specs on screen so you can see them for reference. I used MSI Afterburner to monitor FPS, CPU, and GPU temperatures, RAM usage, and GPU usage percentages. This isn't meant to be a hardcore benchmark, just a straightforward look at how the game performs in real gameplay. All tests were done at 1080p resolution with VSync turned off and NVIDIA DLSS enabled. Starting with Epic settings, the game was using around 10 gigs of RAM and about 5 gigs of VRAM. GPU temperatures averaged around 72 degrees while CPU usage sat between 59 and 65%. In terms of FPS, the highest I saw was around 75, with averages mostly sitting between 67 and 69 FPS. Switching down to high settings while keeping the LSS on and VSync off, memory usage stayed around 5 gigs of VRAM. GPU temperatures averaged around 71 degrees and CPU usage hovered around 65%. Performance improved significantly here, with FPS peaking at 113 and averaging between 103 and 107 FPS. On medium settings, VRAM usage dropped slightly to around 4 gig. GPU temperature stayed consistent at around 71 degrees, while CPU usage ranged between 69 and 71%. FPS jumped up even more here, reaching highs of around 158 FPS. Finally, on low settings, VRAM usage stuck to around 4 gig, but GPU temperatures dropped to about 67 degrees. CPU usage remained between 69 and 71%, and FPS climbed as high as 182 FPS. Overall, the game runs well at 1080p, especially on high and medium settings, where you get a great balance between visuals and performance. Epic settings look good, but the performance jump you get by dropping to highs is definitely worth it. Moving on to issues and bugs, I didn't run into anything major during my first hour of gameplay. That said, there are a couple of small things I noticed. During one cutscene where SpongeBob is talking to Mr. Krabs, I noticed what looked like a minor animation or visual glitch. When the camera zoomed in on Mr. Krabs, there was some strange visual artifacts around his body. It didn't affect gameplay, but it was noticeable in that moment. Another thing worth mentioning is the lack of difficulty options in the settings menu. There are no clear difficulty modes like, easy, normal, or hard. I'm not sure I'd classify this as an issue though, since the game feels clearly designed with a younger audience in mind, which makes that decision understandable. Overall, there are very minor points and nothing that broke the experience for me during my time with the game. With bugs and issues out of the way, let's talk about whether the game is actually worth the price. On Steam, the game comes into editions. The standard SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide is currently priced at $749, which is roughly $40. There's also a digital edition priced at 1,049 rands, which comes in at around 56 USD. If it was up to me, I'd personally go for the standard edition. Based on my experience so far, it offers the core gameplay and content without feeling like you're missing out on anything essential. As for whether the game is worth the price, I'd say it really depends on what kind of a player you are. If you're interested in the game but you're not in a rush, I'd recommend waiting for the sale. It feels like a game that would be an easy pickup at a discount price. That said, if you're a hardcore SpongeBob fan, can't wait to jump in, and just want more SpongeBob content, then going in at full price might be worth it for you. At the end of the day, it comes down to how much you value the experience. If you've enjoyed the review up to this point, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the game, or if you have any suggestions on how I can improve my content going forward. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Asibonge, you know the vibes.